during 9/11.
Where was I?
Oh yeah, real life.
I remember when the bombs fell. Anyway, hey guys, welcome to Smudtalk number 32. We're talking about Red Dwarf. It is a TV show that the world might not know of. It came out in the late 80s and from Britain. So if you don't know, this is
Britain
probably
is a small country in Europe.
Europe. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know exact dates, okay, but it was probably the first that I know of that is a satire, or what would you call the comedy flavor?
It's a sitcom in space. That's what it is. It's really it started off as just two guys who can't stand each other. It just so happens that they're also the last people in the universe.
Oh, great!
So that's it. Actually, I mean, it started off as a radio comedy.
Oh, really? Now.
Yeah, called Dave Hollis Space Cadet.
Nice.
But with it, it was just obviously it was a Mickey take of A Space Odyssey, and it was just a guy and his senile computer talking and everything.
Sounds very Stanislav Lem like.
Yeah, so that's how it started. I think it was like in the 83 when they did it on the radio. Yeah,
I do know there are all kinds of sci-fi or space comedy movies, but not so much in the realm of sitcoms or TV shows. So
I think since then there's only been one more attempt, especially in Britain, of a space-themed sci-fi, and it was called Hyperdrive, and it was terrible.
I only remember that.
Never heard of it.
Well,
it had Nick Frost, who's in Hot Fuzz and everything. Yeah, it had him in it, and it was really bad.
Well, I remember in the 80s we had Weird Science. You guys might not remember that one.
Yes, Boingo.
Can't forget that one. There's Short Circuit. There was Spaceballs, of course. Earth Girls Are Easy. Short Circuit 2, Bill and Ted, Ghostbusters. I guess they can call it sci-fi. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. And that's where, that's when you get into the 90s and it's like Star Trek and all the wonderful versions of Star Trek we get. So your mind sort of glazes over because comedy wasn't really a thing for the sci-fi realm. It wasn't. It was always serious and dramatic and epic.
The great thing about Red Dwarf is that it blends the British sitcom extremely well with actually good science fiction.
Yeah.
The topics it uses, the science fiction topics it uses, it approaches like real science fiction as here's this technology or thing we ran across that works completely different. It's basically a theoretical exercise or philosophical exercise, and let's interact with it and see what happens. And a problem. And that's the good sci-fi. That's not this what we have today where it's just big explosion, spaceships shooting at each other. That's not really science fiction in the sense that it was conceived.
Yeah,
that's just popcorn nonsense.
The best I can do, like with a series that's sci-fi, I don't even call it sci-fi. It's basically a review show, which was at the same time. It must have been the same time, which was Mystery Science Theater. And the frame is these a bunch of guys on space with some AI and robots, and they're all watching these dumb movies from the 70s.
Mystery Science Theater, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's comedy, but they're cracking jokes at these dumb B movies from the 70s and 80s. So that was perhaps the only one I can think of that did it at roughly the same time or even earlier. That is technically a comedy. So to get a show like, how long did this thing go on for? Is it still going or not?
Well, Red Dwarf, the last episode was in 2020.
Wow.
So it ran from 1988 to 93. That's the original 6 series, which is classed as the best.
Yeah.
Then it came back in 97 and 99 for series 7 and 8. Then there was a 10-year gap, and it came back on a channel called Dave in the UK.
The channel was called Dave?
Yeah, you know why it's called Dave?
Dave.
Because when it first started up, it could only get reruns of Red Dwarf. So they named it Dave. Seriously. So
it was 24/7 Red Dwarf.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that and
Wow,
Top
heaven.
You know, there is a
There's
movie
Red Dwarf
called
and Top-
Meet Dave, which has Eddie Murphy as the title role.
Yeah.
I know.
So,
Oh my god.
So yeah, it came back for a 3-part special called Back to Earth. That's homage to Blade Runner, actually.
Was that a time travel thing, or did I not watch that?
It's. I don't think if you think it's time travel, no. But it's a homage to Blade Runner with stuff because you don't know what's real. Then it was that popular that Dave commissioned a series 10 in 2012. That was successful.
That in itself is part of the comedy.
Yeah.
Fucking Brits.
So so series 10 was successful enough that they commissioned 2 more series, so 11 and 12 in 2016 and 2017, and then they made the last special, which was 3 episodes, called The Promised Land in 2020, and they're still trying to make more of them. It's just that
aren't the actors geriatric at this point?
well, the actors are in their early 60s now, but it doesn't really matter in this context because, I mean, it would probably matter in the future, but if they made another one now, I don't think it would matter.
I mean,
doesn't it even make it more ridiculous that all of them are just old people now?
Yeah, it's just funny because they're just.
Oh, they could end at the end of season 6, where they blow themselves up.
Yeah, well, everyone actually says that season 6 to the end. For Tyler Preston, what about Blake 7? Blake 7 was a serious drama in the UK, not a comedy sci-fi show. So, and also that was in the 70s as well, so a long time before Red Dwarf started. Sorry, I was distracted. So it's ran pretty much non-stop, apart from like a 10-year hiatus since 1988. So it's been a long time.
And I agree with you. You were right. The core stuff is the first 6 seasons, and I watched a bit further, and the 7 and 8 they were a bit disappointing, and I didn't continue after that.
Yeah, to be honest with you, you're not missing much with the newer stuff. There's a few good scenes and a lot of callbacks, but it's very much Red Dwarf is 1 to 6, and I always recommend people watch it because it's my favorite show. There's no it's my favorite show in all of media. I can watch it over and over again.
Yeah, and it goes out with a bang.
Yeah.
All right, so you guys want to play some of the videos, or what do you want to do? Keep talking about it.
We'll play a bit of video because obviously I've got some compilations, so people can understand like jokes and stuff. Because obviously it's very difficult to talk about a comedy show without seeing the jokes. Because me, Mark, and Whisp can all say, "Oh, this joke in this episode," but like everyone who's not seen it's like, "Well, we don't know what do you mean?"
Yeah.
Well, I'll give some background information and stuff before we go into the video.
Wouldn't it help by introducing who the characters are?
Yeah, that's what I mean. So I'll just go through everything. So obviously the story revolves around Dave Lister, who's the last human alive in the universe, and he's 3 million light years away from Earth on the ship called Red Dwarf. He's only there because he was put in stasis for bringing a cat on board. And while he was in stasis, there was a radiation leak that wiped out the crew. So everyone's dead. which is obviously one of the jokes in the first episode, which is everybody's dead.
And so
Everyone
3
is
million
dead,
years
Dave.
passed.
Yeah, so 3 million years have passed because that's how long it took for the radiation level to lower down. So when he's revived from stasis, his only companions are the ship's computer Holly, who's gone senile from being alone for 3 million years, a hologram of his bunkmate Arnold Rimmer, who he can't stand, and he literally hates his guts. They literally hate each other, but he's brought back to like keep him sane, and a descendant of his cat that he brought on board. The cat was pregnant. So for 3 million years, the cat species carried on evolving and turned into like humanoids. And so that's how it starts out with. Then they pick up Crichton, the mechanoid, from Benova 6.
He's awesome.
And so obviously that's the characters. So it's just them 5 just going on adventures. And it's serious sci-fi, but they're idiots. So it's like
you play it, and it's played straight. That's the important part.
You have to remember. There's 100 to start with. There's 169 people on the Red Dwarf crew, and Lister is crewman 169, and Rimmer is crewman 168. They are the 2 lowest ranked people on the ship. They are vending machine repairmen. They're not
chicken soup.
Yeah, chicken soup, and it's like they're not like. They're not Imagines like Space Marines or anything like that. It's just Lister's a slob from Liverpool who'd rather eat curry and like sit in his bed all day, and Rimmer is just an idiot. Then also he's dead. So
since he's a hologram, he can't touch anything, so he can't do any repairs on the ship anymore.
Yeah, so
they're bickering all the time.
Yeah.
So imagine you have a constant Squidward ghost hovering around you.
All right, let's get some of the videos going because I need some context for some of this stuff.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Sorry.
You both, all the way to Hades. I want to go to Blue Alert. Okay. Thank you. Bit of professionalism.
Wait, I've got something. I'm punching it up.
Step up to Red Alert.
Sir, are you absolutely sure? It does mean changing the bulb.
For the uninitiated, Red Dwarf is a British sitcom which began way back in 1988. It primarily follows Dave Lister, a petty repairman who spends 3 million years in stasis following a radiation leak, and emerges to find the entire crew dead and his ship marooned. Stuck with his former roommate, now reincarnated as a hologram, a creature which evolved from his cat, and eventually a domestic mechanoid. This being an old British sci-fi show, Red Dwarf's presentation is certainly a bit crude.
Yeah, the idea with cat is that if cats were humans, how would they act?
Yeah, it's really good, yeah.
It's a completely attention deficit, horny narcissist.
Yeah.
And he's fashion addicted, but he's also the last of his species. Or if there are other cats around, we don't know about them.
Oh, they actually answer that in the later series.
All right. The other cats all fled and they left him behind because he was the shittiest cat.
They were left with all the idiots got left behind. He was left. The cats left on 2 because Lister is classed as their god for some reason.
He's the creator.
Yeah, he's their creator. He's called Cloister the Stupid, and it's like and they found the holy text and everything like that, which turns out to be his laundry list. And it's just like one pair of socks, 2 pairs of underpants. He goes, "It's not the holy text. That's my laundry list." So they made a whole religion.
Yeah, that was the first season, right?
Yeah, in the first season. Yeah. So yeah, this is the thing. It's like it's got really like big ideas, but because everyone's an idiot, it's like it's the most stupid thing ever.
Yeah,
It's
they
like-
come across serious Star Trek level problems, but well, what do you do?
Yeah.
And the interesting thing about Cat is, a Hawk told me this, that that guy was not actually an actor; he was just a dancer.
Yeah. There's only actually one. There's only one actor in the show, which
That's
is
Rimmer.
Chris Barry. He's the only actual person who had acting credits at that time. Everyone else, Craig Charles, who plays Lister, is a poet. Danny John Jules was a dancer, and Norman Lovett, who plays Holly, is a stand-up comedian. So there was only one actor in it. So it's pretty good. Crichton was an actor, but with so few acting credits until Red Dwarf started. So, and also, yeah.
Yeah, but the dancing really defines the character of Cat, because every time he comes on screen, he is dancing, and he dances off screen. It's brilliant.
The irony is, obviously, what I always find funny is, obviously, with how much I've watched Red Dwarf, and then I see him in other things, and it's weird to think that from this, Chris Barry went on to star in Laura Croft as her butler with Angelina Jolie, and his friends with Angelina Jolie. Yeah, and his friends with Angelina Jolie now. And Danny John Jules is in Blade 2.
No way.
Yeah, he's in Blade 2.
What did he play?
He played one of the vampires who teams up with Blade to start with before they turn on him. Is it Blade? Yeah, it's Blade. Yeah, because he actually gets into a fight with is it Wesley Snipes? Yeah.
Yeah, it's Wesley Snipes.
Wow.
Yeah, he actually fights him and everything, and he did the choreography for the movie.
Cool.
Amazing.
Like,
And they keep telling us that there are no awesome black people in movies.
Also, I found out as well, because it came up on my YouTube, Craig Charles and Hattie Hayridge, who plays the female version of Holly, were in Lex.
Ooh.
Oh my god.
Which, the movie or the series?
That's something you won't be credited for.
Yeah. Season 4, I think it is. They play the warden and the warden's wife, who, was it in Texas? And they have someone captured there, and what's his name? Who's dead? Is it Kai? Is it he called? Who's dead in Lex?
Yeah, he's
undead.
Yeah, he's brought back. Yeah.
Yeah. Both of them get killed in that episode as well. But yeah, they're in Lex. Yeah, I didn't even realize it until it came up on my YouTube.
but is there an audience laughing when they get killed?
No, but what happens is that this creature jumps up Craig Charles' ass and kills him. It's really bad CGI, so I'm like, that lets it down. But anyway, sorry for the.
And Rusty Cheese Knife in the chat. I wondered that as well when I watched Farscape, because the main character there is called John Crichton, and I wondered, is that a reference to Red Dwarf? Because you also have this at the end of the galaxy ragtag bunch of people on a ship they don't really control that much.
I don't know. There's so many things that I've realized are like, if you go into TV tropes about like Red Dwarf and like references and shout outs, there's a massive page of stuff, and it's really like, there's really like strange things that it's in and like referenced by. So anyway, I think we should carry on with the video, since he'll probably explain a lot of stuff that I'm explaining. So.
But in that crudity is an unmistakable charm. At first, the production design is fixed on military greys and navy greys and is admittedly a bit dull, but from Season 3 onward, Red Dwarf becomes far more colourful and innovative with his designs. None of it, and I mean none of it, is all that convincing, but that being said, the ingenuity with much of its sets and VFX and quirk of its designs are pretty charming. There's an attempt at building a proper universe here with some internal logic. You get the feeling this world started out as the whiz-bang spaceships of the Flash Gordon or Buck Rogers type, but then slowly degraded into the dingy, lived-in, bulky look of the first Alien film. The titular Red Dwarf itself is basically just a massive brick powered by a ram scoop, whereas the smaller Starbug vehicles wouldn't look out of place in a Dan Dare comic book. The whole production feels like an attempt to replicate the look of a Ridley Scott film, but on a fraction of the budget, it veers closer to the better Roger Corman-looking films, like Battle Beyond the Stars or Galaxy of Terror. And while I'm not usually one to badmouth CGI, there is a definite childhood sense of fun with these old miniature effect shots.
That looks amazing.
As someone who grew up on Thunderbirds and Captain Scarlet, it's kind of a delight to see this stuff. There is often a feeling of do-it-yourself with these effects, filled to the brim with practical effects monsters and innovatively adapted sci-fi props. Now I usually spend more time than this on the overall presentation of shows, but we have to get to the good stuff, and that is undoubtedly the characters. Red Dwarf has one of the best comedic ensembles not just on TV, but ever. Not only is each actor terrifically talented, but their characters are so rich and deep, possessing so much potential for great jokes, but also great drama and stories. The initial protagonist, Dave Lister, is given a true authenticity by Craig Charles, who at the time had very little acting experience, let alone comedic experience. Instead, he was known as a hard-hitting poet at the time, discussing some very raw subject matter. But it's that sense of grit which lends Lister his solid moral core. While Craig Charles had virtually no comedic acting experience, Chris Barry's Arnold Rimmer is the exact opposite. Chris Barry was a British TV comedy veteran, known for his variety of impressions and voices on shows like Spitting Image. As a result, his performance as Rimmer is simply phenomenal. Rimmer is the punching bag of the crew, being thoroughly unlikable in the most specific ways. Like Lister, he exists as a complete nobody, but is deluded into thinking his circumstances will change one day. As a result, he is snobbish, arrogant, and authoritative.
So they just keep changing the H on his forehead for some reason? Is that some...
Yes, the
Yeah,
first
so-
2 seasons has like a really cheap H on it.
Yeah,
Season
they got
3
him
and
a
onwards
better-
have it way better.
Yeah,
The
they got
thing
him
is-
a better sticker.
Yeah, the thing is as well, considering he's just completely like his character is just a hologram, so he's made of light, so he can change his, uniforms and stuff. So it made sense that it get better and better. It changed as the years went by. But yeah, it's you can start seeing when budgets start getting into the show. So, I think it was the set design. Well, the
set design's amazing.
And costume designer, a bloke called Mel Bibby, I think it was, who sadly passed away from cancer just after the series ended. Changed it. He came in season 3 and changed everything. So he gave it the more it went from that military looking thing to more of a space opera sort of thing. And so they used reflective colours with Rimmer to make it look like he's made of light, whereas beforehand he just wore that uniform.
Mhm.
So yeah,
That's a subtle change. I didn't notice that.
yeah, that's why they chose it. That's why he has those bright green uniforms in like season 3 and 4, and then season 5 it's the same but red. And then obviously it's just colour, so he stands out more
Mhm.
and everything. But yeah, you'll notice like stuff changes. Like Crichton's outfit, the head mask and everything changes each season.
Oh, yeah.
It's a nice way of knowing where. It's a nice little way of knowing which season you're watching just by one clip. It's like, oh, I'm watching season 4 because he's got that uniform on, or I'm watching season 5 because Crichton's head is shaped like that. So
Yeah, but just with the set design, the show looks, Red Dwarf looks lived in. It's like there are actual people there. Unlike lots of modern science fiction where it's just these weird empty rooms with nothing in them.
Yeah, like you look at Babylon 5, that feels like a space station. Like it feels like these are people walking through the halls.
Yeah,
it's dark.
They have stuff in their quarters.
Oh yeah.
Just random items that give personality and yeah.
it's,
Glasses and cutlery and stuff. But
once you start, Starbug, which is one of the sets they use quite a bit, it literally looks like someone's car. It's they've got crap all over. They've got furry dice. They've got like magazines and stuff, and they've got rubbish. It's because it's just lived in. These are slobby people.
Yeah.
They're not bothered about,
I always compare that to, let's say, other stories or other TV shows that have like space stations or rooms. Like you look at Star Trek, everything seems very bland. Every set of every room seems very bland, except for like maybe a statuette in the corner.
Star Trek, especially the Federation, is the what's the English word? The Federation is the people who are phobic of dust.
Well, yeah. With the DS9 set, the mezzanine for the promenade, that could be any community center that you've ever gone to. It's like this; they could have gotten any set and used that.
Yeah.
It was so clean you don't want to walk there because you might dirty something.
Yeah, and that's the Star Trek that was supposed to be grimy and things are broken. It's like you look at the bridge of the.
They just can't do it. They just can't not clean up.
It's shiny. It's like this is a nice looking bridge.
And compare that to this is the original Star Wars also looked lived in. You had home appliances and everything around. Look at the modern Star Wars, and that's not really there. It's just rooms with maybe a table, and then there's random tech gimmicks that just look to be. They're just there to be props. They're not there to be things that somebody uses. And there's nothing looks like there's people living there.
Yeah, but Red Dwarf
it's a problem of modern sci-fi, I would say.
I mean, Red Dwarf is able to turn a talking toaster into an appliance that you think is actually real and is in that world, instead of just a
remind me of that fucking toaster. I hated that fucking toaster. Like everyone on the crew hated the fucking toaster. Whoever wrote that fucking toaster did a good job.
But to say something about was it Rusty Cheese Knife in the chat? Just discovered that Chris Barry did the voice of Simon the Sorcerer in the old adventure game. He does loads of voices. He's ironically on. I'm going to talk to Smud here because Smud will probably know what I'm on. The Pet Shop Boys. There's that group, isn't it? Musical group.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he voices Ronald Reagan on a couple of songs.
Wow.
They used to actually hire him to do voices for Ronald Reagan. Yeah,
that's an old series, or sorry, an old music group.
Yeah, but So he's actually kind of like with his voice and everything like that. He does loads of things that you wouldn't notice. So. Yeah.
You gotta like the 80s.
Anyway.
Yeah, you gotta like the 80s music scene to appreciate the Pet Shop Boys.
I think I'm trying to think of which any song that has, especially on their albums, he talks a lot on their albums and stuff, and does voices of and stuff. It's really weird that they like looked him out and hired him, and like worked with him on numerous songs.
I'm just still thinking like which clip has like Ronald Reagan talking in Pet Shop Boys.
Anyway,
I can't recall.
Yeah, trying to carry on because, to be honest with you, this guy's saying everything that I would say. So.
Tarian, but also cripplingly cowardly and self-serving. Rimmer isn't simply an asshole for the sake of it, there's real depth to the character. Rimmer's major hang-ups are on his upbringing and parents, which he blames for the utter garbage of a human being he turned out to be. And yet, as the show consistently proves for tragic comedic effect, he is dead wrong. Rounding out the cast are Danny John Jules as the Cat, and Robert Llewellyn as Crichton. The Cat is a brilliant creation, being the coolest, most stylish, but also one of the stupidest life forms ever to exist. And John Jules simply glides through the series, being effortlessly cool and funny. But while Cat doesn't have the depth of Lister or Crichton, his fundamental shallowness is cleverly played for just as many laughs as the complexity of the others. Crichton, originally played by David Ross, who was delightful in his own way, is a smart piece of subterfuge. Llewellyn's grasp of the sci-fi dialogue as well as expert comedic timing is truly remarkable, and it's these strikingly well-written characters, played to perfection by a supremely talented cast, which is the primary driver of the excellently written comedy. There's no other way to say this, and it may seem obvious considering this is a sitcom, but Red Dwarf is just really fucking funny.
The poor devil must have scrawled it in his death throes using a combination of his own blood and even his own intestines.
Who would do that? Someone who badly needed a pen. Name?
Dave Lister.
Occupation?
Bum.
Oftentimes, breaking down the exact mechanics of jokes can render them unfunny, but Red Dwarf's sense of humour is not only unique, but also extremely clever, such as the episode Psy Moon, in which the warped neurotic...
Oh my god, you didn't call it Simoon.
It's
The
a
episode's
different
called-
English
the episode's
dialect.
called- yeah, the episode's called Terraform,
Is that?
and they're on a Simoon. But anyway,
Oh,
oh,
Honestly, the simplicity with which they showed the space
I
time.
can see like who's the bigger like Red Dwarf here and there.
Yeah, with this just
It's a
very
fact.
very basic lens effect. Just looks more convincing to me to be that's what a real one would look like than any of the glowy weird stuff in Star Trek.
Well, I remember the first 2 seasons, which were really weird in Star Trek. They would have holograms on desks. Like Geordi was explaining something, and he had this hologram in the ready room. And sometimes they wouldn't do that ever again for the rest of the season. You're just like, what was the point? Like, can't you do that? Nope, they always go back to the screen, and they have an overlay.
Too expensive.
Yeah, it's too
The
expensive.
first 2 next gen seasons were fucking wild, like with the designs, like it was all over the place, especially season 1.
do you want to know a funny story about obviously with the Next Generation and Red Dwarf?
Yeah, but the
With
actor-
Patrick
Yes.
Stewart. Patrick Stewart was about to ring his lawyers to sue Red Dwarf and everything like that. And it took a phone call by Jonathan Frakes, who played the Riker, tell him, no, you've got to watch it. It's a comedy. It's really good.
What? He
And-
hadn't even watched it. He had just heard
No,
that there was a space show with people.
Yeah. Yeah. And then obviously Patrick Stewart started watching it, became a massive fan, and on there was a 10th anniversary show. Patrick Stewart actually introduced it and hosted it.
Oh, nice. But for the
Yeah.
initial reaction, I'm starting to think that Patrick Stewart is the opposite of Jean-Luc Picard.
So he wanted to
Oh.
sue.
If you look into like what kind of things he's saying, yes.
Well, what was the reasoning? Because it was competing with Star Trek, or what
It
was?
was a sci-fi show, and it was
It existed.
it'd come out the year after the first season of Next Generation.
Right.
So he was worried that it was just a carbon copy and everything like that.
I can't believe that he went right to wanting to sue instead of watching it.
So
Hmm.
he didn't sue Doctor Who because it was on before Next Generation,
Yeah,
but because this one had sci-fi in the category, therefore.
I think
Yeah.
Right,
Doctor
what
Who-
if
Doctor
he
Who
like
was
saw
already an
like one of the
established thing.
episodes from the 60s Star Trek? He would like sue. It's like,
Hang on, let me
who
see
is
if I
this
can-
Kirk guy?
hang on.
Doctor Who was already 30 years old at the time.
Yeah, I know it's kind of old. So, that's a really weird thing to do or want to do.
Would he sue an Ion Tichy series?
Well,
Because he never read Stanislav Lem?
I would say I would see like a producer or a lawyer want to do that, but not an actor. That's silly. That's weird.
Hang on. Let's hold on. Hold on. I found
Amazing
it. I found
story.
the actual thing. Hang on. There it is. Start of Red Dwarf Night with Patrick Stewart. I've just sent you the link where he actually talks about it. So
Oh boy.
you can play that at any point. You can carry on watching this, and then you can bring that up. But yeah, once you see it, it's like he explains. Actually, no, I got told I didn't.
Okay.
But at least he was good enough to actually once he watched it, he went, "Oh, you know what? Never mind." It's like, no, this is really good, and like supported it and everything like that. But yeah,
Jeez, what a weird guy. Okay.
Psyche of Rimmer is rendered real by the moon the crew find themselves on, or a polymorph which transforms the characters by removing traits of their own personality. An artificial being who survives to the very end of time and dedicates his existence to judging every life form which ever existed to see if it's worthy of its own life, and it happens
was
to
an
confront the
interesting idea.
literal scum of the universe. Or a virtual reality world designed to fulfill the user's every desire, completely shitting the bed because one of the minds inhabiting it is the horrible mind of Arnold Rimmer. Just like the best of Star Trek, Red Dwarf uses science fiction to explore its characters. But while Star Trek used this tool to create drama or food for thought, Red Dwarf uses the tool to create fantastic comedy. Outside of that, though, some of the concepts in each episode are just...
I love this episode.
A world where time moves backwards leads to a barroom brawl in reverse. Completely skews the order of a certain scene to hilarious effect. Droids originally designed for historical attractions, waging a war made up of history's most famous figures, and so on and so on. Fantastic ideas and concepts which would make brilliant...
That episode, Meltdown, is one of the greatest episodes has ever existed.
It is.
Got,
it is.
An army of Elvis, the Pope, Pythagoras, Albert Einstein, Marilyn Monroe, Mahatma Gandhi, Queen Victoria, everything versus the the leader of the KKK, Caligula and Adolf Hitler. Yeah, and then you've got like Rasputin and everything like that. And the battle plan is the good guys, they're going to do a daylight charge over a minefield. And you're literally watching Mahatma Gandhi step on a landmine and explode. And it's just so funny. The best one ever is the fact that Rimmer's gone nuts in this episode because of something that happened earlier. And so he's pushing them to like exhaustion, and he's like, there's only 20 good guy droids left. And he's like, I've got to train them, but 3 of them have melted already. You're killing them. It's like, don't you think the enemy will do that? He goes, and Pratt's like, well, they won't have to. You'll have killed them all off first. And it's just, he kills everybody on the planet. Everyone dies apart from the Red Dwarf crew. It's amazing. It's great.
And that's how you get home safely.
And he goes, I've ended the tyranny on Wax World. And Liz is like, oh great. They can all rot peacefully under a flag of freedom. But anyway, yeah, that
operation successful. Patient dead.
Oh.
Yeah, it sounds like British comedy to me. Okay.
It's so grand.
Okay.
Straight-laced sci-fi is made even more enjoyable by being a comedy. Not only does it amuse casual audiences for its sense of humour, Red Dwarf also thrills and excites everyday sci-fi fans. Every fan has different opinions on the various eras of the show, with some citing the first 2 seasons as the best. Personally, I've always found the opposite, as the most creative plotting and richer production design was yet to take hold. The characters, storytelling, and humour is still top-notch in these early years,
so John
but personally,
Carpenter.
I think the best of the best came after. Season 3 completely revamped the show with a hilariously self-aware text crawl to explain away the continuity errors and different production design. From here onwards, the sci-fi concepts and the mileage the writers get out of them increases tenfold, matching a more confident-feeling series. Many of the show's classics are present in this era, topped in Season 6, which is one of my favourites. Season 6 sees the crew lose track of Red Dwarf itself, and stuck on Starbug trying to track it down. This series feels the most Star Trek-esque, encountering bizarre space phenomena, alien monsters, and more of the great character-focused concepts like Rimmerworld. Season 7 is a bit controversial with many fans. It maintained the same overall premise as Season 6, but shook up the filming style and cast. Yet I never felt like the rhythm of the jokes really accommodated a lack of laugh track, which makes that version of the season kind of awkward to watch at times. If you do find it, I'd recommend finding the one with the laugh track still in it. Season 7 also saw the departure of Chris Barry as Rimmer, with Chloe Annette joining as Lister's interdimensional ex-girlfriend Christine Kachan.
Yeah, and that's where the show went downhill, because women are not funny.
No, she's not funny at all.
And especially compared to Rimmer.
She's
very big shoes.
She was so unfunny, but when they brought the show back, they got rid of Kachansky straight away. Went straight back to the original 4. So yeah.
Yeah. So she's after season 8. She's not there anymore.
No.
Good riddance.
They spend season 10 looking for her. But they never find her, and then it's dropped again for seasons 11, 12, and the Promised Land.
It sounds like the time when you had that girlfriend. They were like, "Oh yeah, we're going out, we're having a good time," and then it's like, "What the hell are we doing that for? What are we doing?"
Yeah. It's like, oh, Tasha Yar's dead. Oh,
Oh.
okay.
Let's bring her back in the season 3.
Yeah,
Was it like the last season where she came back?
No, she comes back, like Tasha Yar comes back in like one of those alternative universe episodes.
Yeah, Yesterday's Enterprise.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then fucks
Come on,
up the
then.
timeline by getting impregnated by one of those aliens.
Oh God.
Villains. Zaffron, is it Zaffron? Yeah, Zaffron in the chat. Yeah, seasons 1 to 6 are good. Rob Grant left because, in his own words, he didn't want to have just Red Dwarf on his headstone when he died. He wanted to write other things, and so far, Rob Grant is famous for Red Dwarf. Since then, he left in 1993, which is 30 years ago, and he's done nothing since.
That sounds like a
I
Tasha
can
Yar
understand,
story.
and as much as I can understand the sentiment that you want some more accomplishments, keep sticking with the one you're really good at. Maybe take your 10-year hiatus, but then make it better again.
Don't bother looking up Denise Crosby's IMDb. It's not worth it.
Also, another thing as well, the reason why we're not actually made any more Red Dwarf after the Promised Land is because Rob Grant's actually taken them to court.
What?
Over misuse, because he wants part of the proceeds.
Oh, interesting.
So he's actually in a court battle with Doug Naylor, who was his co-creator.
Just get him back on the team, for fuck's sake.
He doesn't want to do it. He doesn't want any more Red Dwarf. He does not want Red Dwarf to carry on.
So he created this amazing thing, and then he wants it to die.
Yeah, pretty much, because he just doesn't like it anymore.
Can you imagine like Shigeru Miyamoto inventing like Mario Brothers, and then after like Super Mario 3, he's like, I don't want to be known by Super Mario 3 anymore. I want to do something new.
This cringe guy, Cinema Roberto, wrote a book about it. I can't associate with Mario anymore.
Yeah, but yeah, that's some background. Background information. Yeah,
that is like a very awkward history with that, because like I honestly can't see like any creator being embarrassed about like something like this.
Yeah, I know. It's one of those things a bit like if someone said to me, "Oh, you could become the creator of Red Dwarf," I'd be like, "Yes, I will. Yes, I will take this."
There are times when actors feel like they've overstayed their welcome, or they feel like the stories aren't very good. And I remember, I can't remember her name from NCIS, which is a very popular show. I think it's still popular. It's going on for like, I don't know how many years.
It's been 20 years.
Yeah, it's huge. But I used to watch it like, I think 10 years ago when the Mexican chick was on, and she was the Israeli agent.
Oh, Ziva. Is the character's name.
Yeah, I can't remember. DePaulo, I can't remember her last name. But she stopped, even though she was doing very, very well. And everyone was like, why the hell are you leaving? Because she thought the scripts were bad. And some episodes were bad. I won't say she's wrong. But she felt that in general. And I was like, okay. I mean, that's a fair enough reason. But ever since then, nothing. I have no idea what she's on, what she does.
Yeah.
She's gone. And they brought her back for like 2 episodes. To and that's after Weatherly left and did his own show with Bull. And they didn't bother to bring him back. So her entire arc was that she's started a family, or was about to start a family with Weatherly, and they had a kid.
You know what's really weird, right? You just mentioned NCIS. It's Ducky, isn't it? Who's the coroner?
Dr. Melody.
You know his assistant. Who's on it?
Right.
Yeah.
You know he's in Hocus Pocus as the cat.
Oh.
And plays the young lad at the start who gets turned into the cat. That's really fucking weird. It really weirded me out when I watched it. Because I remember watching it as a kid, and I watched that and I went, God, he looks really familiar. But I remembered who it was when I looked it up.
Yeah.
It's really weird that you mentioned that show.
That actor is in one episode of Babylon 5, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah. He plays the.
I still can't believe with Babylon 5. What's his name? Who's Delen's friend?
Attaché.
No,
Linear.
Lennar, is it?
Linear.
Yeah, he plays Will Robinson
Yeah.
in. Yeah,
He's a hardcore
what's
sci-fi
it?
guy. Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, that's crazy. It's weird when you see them as like adults and they're in something else. And you're like, well, okay.
Well, I remember this because I think it was one of the worst episodes of Babylon 5, or one of the most non-related episodes. It was a really cool episode for a sci-fi story, Babylon 5. I think it was this scarab that attached to someone's body and turned them into a weapon. And the weapon was to defend the planet, but the planet has been dead for like tens of thousands of years or whatever.
It tended to. It was programmed to protect the pure.
Protect the purely genetic whatever of.
Yeah. But the problem was that there was a purity spiral. So in the end, everyone was killed.
Exactly. Yeah, it was really, really stupid. But the guy who found it was Ducky, and he was concerned about the money. He's like, look, think about all the money. You're like,
yeah, because it was
bioweapons, yeah,
bioneural tech stuff. That of course. Oh, how can we weaponize this for our own government?
Yeah. It was
that was the basic idea.
It was an interesting idea. Had nothing to do with the main plot line of Babylon 5. It was very cool.
Not exactly. It was in parts of it were used later on in where this dead planet was referenced.
Mm-hmm.
Or where
like, what's that Babylon 5 episode? Was it like Section 13 is missing or something?
Oh,
do you
remember
that one?
No, that's a later one. The Scarab thing, I think that's in the first season.
Oh no, but what I meant was like throwaway episodes that didn't lead to anything. It's like I think that one was one that was real, like really like no one talks about it.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Section 13? Or which one is it? Or is it like
it's Grey?
I don't know.
Grey.
Grey 13. I'm not there on the rewatch with Bears yet. We are in season 3 right now.
No, it's because
I think it's later in season 3.
I thought that was like a first season episode.
Mm-mm.
Can't remember.
Well,
all I know is it had nothing to do with anything, and it was a real throwaway episode.
That was where Marcus stops. What the hell's that guy's name? Naroon. Oh, Naroon is such an amazing character in Bab 5, and they have that crazy fight, and Naroon ends up nearly killing Marcus, and he's about to kill Delenn, but he realized what it means to be not only a warrior but also to be a ranger, and that was, I mean, anytime you talk about the Minbari, it's kind of weird what their culture is like and what their people's practices are. But when you see these guys like trying to kill each other, you're like, holy shit, this is nuts. So that was beautiful.
And the Minbari are a fully thought out science fiction race. That is not just everybody of this race is this way. No, they have 3 castes, and you get to see different people from these castes, and they even the head bones look different. Like the ones from the warrior caste, they tend to have way more ridges and like teeth-like protrusions at the top, so it looks even more like a crown. While those of the religious caste, they look a bit softer. In the beginning, Lanier, in the first season, he just has a like almost a childlike version of that, and in the second season, it has a few of these ridges and protrusions because he's growing up.
If you're talking about
he's coming into he's maturing.
If you're talking about the Minbari, the thing they did to Delenn, the first episode, they wanted to make Delenn a not a female looking alien, but like a polyamp. Not what's the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, no. They wanted to make the Minbari some genderless,
asexual looking,
some asexual species.
Yeah, so you see her; she looks like she has masculine features. She's very hoarse, and they said, "Wait, this is not going to work. We can't do that," because he knew what he was going to do with her in season 2 or 3. So he's like, "Okay, let's make her transform," but it didn't quite work very well.
Yeah.
So they made it.
They just dropped that idea, and I think that was a good choice.
Yeah, it was too weird, too blocky.
Yeah, but in general, the amount of detail they take in Babylon 5 is amazing with these things that you notice on rewatching the show, like just the ridges of the Minbari head bone things.
Yeah, and I remember the what was his name again? You just mentioned Bill Mumy. There's his name.
Yeah.
Yes.
He was. I don't know if you guys saw his interviews on YouTube, but he hated the makeup. He hated it so much. And it's the one thing he loved the character, he loved the acting, he loved all that the things that you got to do, but he hated the 3 hours of prosthetics you had to go through. So,
going back onto bringing that back onto Red Dwarf. Obviously, with the Crichton makeup, it took a long time to put on, and Robert Llewellyn didn't mind it, but he didn't like it. He got to direct one of the episodes in season 7. And he thought, oh, great, I can make it like one where Crichton's not needed that much, so I don't have to wear this makeup. He ended up making the episode, the one where he finds his missing half-brother. So he was in makeup twice as much.
Oh, no.
And so he was a bit like, I don't know how it ended up like that, but yeah, unfortunate.
all right, let's try and finish off this video, and we got 2 more to go. So,
Something is definitely lost with Rimmer's exit, but a new dynamic takes hold between the other characters and Kochanski, which still gets plenty of laughs. However, I think it's the following season where Annette and her character really shined. Season 8 is likewise controversial, as it's a big shake-up to the format. The crew finally tracked down Red Dwarf, but with its crew resurrected, our main characters are quickly thrown in jail, where they spend the rest of the season. While the running around space and more overt sci-fi hijinks are missed, Rimmer's return and the resulting character clashes make for some of the most consistently funny episodes in the entire show. Kochanski also finds great material in a rivalry with none other than...
If you wondered what Rimmer was doing there was an extended salute to get time.
Yeah.
He was saluting.
Crichton. There's still plenty of sci-fi weirdness, but now the characters are even more the underdogs than they were before. Which at last brings us to the modern era, because in case you thought this was a thing of the past, Red Dwarf is actually still going to this day, returning with a special in 2009, then full seasons in 2012, 16 and 17, and another feature-length special which aired just this year. This is an era which I am actually still catching up on, having not seen most of the recent season and special, but overall it's returned to the likes of seasons 3 to 6, with a new context. The universe around the characters has now changed, presenting us with even more strange sci-fi ideas and character-centric plots. The fact that after 32 years, Red Dwarf is still as good as it is truly incredible. Red Dwarf is the show which pulls off what so many other sci-fi comedies have never really been able to accomplish. The
How many
Orville,
are
for
there?
example, works best when it
Oh, yeah,
isn't
Orville,
trying to
yeah.
be funny.
The Orville started as a comedy on purpose because that's how it was pitched. But Seth MacFarlane wanted to do an actual Star Trek-like show, and it gets more serious as it progresses. It drops the humor, and it does so relatively quickly when the humor is played in a world that is actually serious and doesn't give a shit about you. So it just if you just play it all off as stupid jokes and the universe doesn't care, it just throws bricks in your faces, and that is what wakes up a lot of these characters very quickly. By in the second season, it's basically all pretty serious with situational comedy at best, I would say. I still haven't seen the third season, but Orwell is special in that.
You always
And
have to remember
it's
the
actual
Orville-
sci-fi.
the
It's
Orville
what Star Trek should be. It's what modern Star Trek should be.
Well, it's because Seth MacFarlane wanted to make a Star Trek show, but they wouldn't allow him to do it. So he's made a comedy show, but he's slowly turned it the same way. You remember how MASH started out as a comedy show and then turned into a comedy drama, and then pretty much ended as a drama.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he's sort of doing with the Orville. So anyway, well, we can finish it. We've only got like a minute left.
Yeah.
So,
And the recent Avenue 5 sci-fi setting is really just a kind of a framing device.
That is really just a comedy show, but it's a good, mostly good one. I'd say 90% good. Go watch it if you want to watch House as a starship captain who doesn't want to be a starship captain.
Yeah, it's kind of... I saw the
Because
scene
he's
with the
just an
airlock
actor?
where everyone thought, "Oh, it's all just makeup. It's all just special effects," and the guys are getting sucked out into space. And I'm like, "Oh my god, this is weird."
Yeah, because so there's one spoiler: the crew is not the crew. The crew is just actors to look nice for the passengers.
Oh.
But but the crew in part thinks that they're the crew. Like the captain thinks he's the captain, but he's not the captain. He's just a hired guy.
Yeah, a bit weird.
It's great. It's great. Watch it. It's one season. It's a good watch. It's fun.
Yeah.
But not only does Red Dwarf deliver the goods in terms of rich characters and great jokes, it also presents us sci-fi fans with endless creative concepts, a unique universe, and plenty of spaceships, aliens, and action. Not only is it funnier than many other sitcoms, it even gives most straightforward sci-fi shows a good run for their money. And that is why Red Dwarf is awesome.
Also,
Thanks
has a
for watching.
wonderful.
If you like what I do and want to see more videos, subscribe and hit the bell.
Alrighty.
It also has a wonderful title song. You
Oh
just
yeah.
can't
No, Red
go
Dwarf
down.
back. You don't have to just press pause. You don't have to play all of this. It's just a few things out of like a few jokes, and funny things. And yeah, I just found it because I didn't know what we'd be allowed to show.
Yeah. You need some context to play off of.
Yeah, you could watch, like, the third one has the top 10 moments. That could be highly subjective because there's so much content, I'm sure.
It has a toaster in it. I hate the toaster.
The toast is amazing. Do you want to watch the third one? The next video before we watch this one,
Okay.
because then you can actually watch full scenes, and then this one you could just be like, it's just it's really just like 17 minutes of jokes.
Yeah.
So. But the thing about that is it's such a simple joke, but it's like, I don't know, just something about it. It just works. Also, in like a sci-fi level, it's like these people don't like these simulants who are there hate humans, so you can't look like a human. So that's why he's like, oh, we'll just make up an alien. And it's like,
With the little what we have available.
yeah. But
And
just
what got
dig
me
out-
about
So
it is
cheap.
and what got me about it was the joke that they use Crichton's cyborg eyes.
yeah.
And the little eye lick with the tongue.
Yeah, but the one that gets me is everything that they're called is actually a curry dish. So Bindi Bhaji is actually like an onion bhaji, but it's really big. So it's like you can look it up on go to a curry house in the UK, you'll see these names that he uses.
Yeah, because everything that's on
Taco.
Lister's mind is curry.
Tarkadal is a really hot curry. So he's named as Ambassador Tarkadal.
Oh my. Okay, that never got to me.
Yeah, so that's what gets. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, I'll not try and explain every joke.
Direct.
Oh, Talkie Toaster, the greatest
best
character
one.
ever.
No.
I wonder if like New Vegas got inspired by this.
Oh, for sure. No question.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Also, by the way, you know that last scene we just watched where he knees Death in the groin.
Yeah.
That was the last episode of Red Dwarf for 10 years. That is literally the last scene of Red Dwarf, the original run of Red Dwarf.
Wow.
It's like that's how they ended it until we got back to back to Earth. So for 10 years, Rimmer kneeing Death in the groin is the last thing we ever saw.
It's the last thing burned into your mind.
So
Yeah, I
which
thought-
season was that?
Season 8.
Okay.
So yeah. But anyway, this is one of the greatest. Also, in this scene, the guy who voices Talkie Toaster played the original Crichton, so we got him back to do it. So
Oh.
I knew that the voice was familiar from somewhere, but
yeah. Anyway, yeah. Stupid.
Holograms are overpowered.
You should audition for What's My Fruit.
No, that's one of the
such a good punchline.
Everyone needs his principles.
Oh, it's just there's also a scene where he like he breaks his leg, and it's like, well, we've got to fix it, or you might get gangrene. He goes, hang on, gangrene and orange, I can pull that off. And it's just like he's just
How they make so many jokes work with the fashion bullshit,
yeah.
and it doesn't get old.
Mm.
This is always a new twist with it.
Hopefully later on it shows the actual better part of that thing where they meet Winnie the Pooh in that scene.
Okay. Oh.
Anyway, carry on.
See, where
Back to reality, yeah.
when they come out of the virtual reality game that was Red Dwarf.
Mm-hmm. And
So
yeah,
they just came out of the Matrix.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
And
but it's
Red
not.
Dwarf was the game.
Yeah, but it's obviously a hallucination or everything. And yeah, the cat is a guy called Dwayne Dibley, who's the what's he called, the Duke of Dork, and it's like he's the most geekiest person ever. Yeah,
And they've lost their memories of who they really were. It's great.
yeah.
He's right though.
What's happening, dudes? We are talking Jape of the Decade.
He's cut out the.
April, May, June, July, and August fall. Yes, that's right. I am Queeg.
What?
They get a new computer called Queeg, and the Queeg gets rid of Holly and makes them and turns their life into a living hell. And at the end, like Holly fights against Queeg and loses and gets like deleted. But it turns out Holly's made an April Fool's joke on them.
Oh.
To get his own back on them for like they were being horrible to him, and it's why he ends the episode going. The moral of the story is be thankful for what you have because I'm fantastic.
That's
So he's taken like the best part of that joke and like he's actually ruined the episode. Well done, guy.
yeah. That's in a number of old series as well as TNG episodes of Star Trek. They get an upgrade or system change.
Yeah.
No, I like the mechanical car.
For some reason, he's not included.
Oh, okay.
I did like the male Holly more than the female one, by the way.
They're both all right.
He just seemed drier. The female one's good.
I think
the
we can.
male one's
But it's
just
basically
dry.
the same character, so it's just
Yeah.
I think the out of context will be better now with it.
Yeah, why did that change anyway?
What do you mean?
Why did the Holly character change to female and then back to male?
I think it was. I'm trying to think what the reason was. I think it was Norman Lovett got bored of the role, wanted to stick to stand up, and then he came back later on because he missed doing the role. And he's like, "Oh, I made a real bad mistake there." So,
Like Tasha Yar, who realized, oh, that gig was actually good.
Yeah,
Damn it.
she thought she was going to be a star in sci-fi flicks in the 90s or
yeah,
late 80s, whatever.
actually, all reminds me of like that thing with what's it in Family Guy where Quagmire thinks he's getting his own show.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Denise Crosby's like, "Yeah, fuck you guys, I don't need you lot." Hey, why is everyone else getting loads of money?
Yeah, she's like not even a second. I don't know if you call the cast of Star Trek outside of Picard and Data secondary characters. They're just sort of there, and they do things for the captains. Tasha Yar is
the support characters.
Yeah, technically secondary.
It allowed characters like Worf and Data to come more to the forefront of stuff.
Mhm.
So I'm glad she left. Anyway, shall we watch the other video then?
Okay.
But I just wanted to
Yeah.
say on that, as you said here, these actors got other gigs, and lots of the people who were in Star Trek also starred in other sci-fi shows as guest characters. You have Babylon 5 is a great example where Katsulas gets a main role. He was the Romulan admiral. Forgot his name. In TNG.
Yep, he played a few times.
What was his name? Mere names. Fuck off. In DS9, the guy who played the elf, famous guy.
What?
The elf.
The elf.
Yeah,
In
from the shapeshifters, from the Dominion.
I don't know.
It's an elf.
You
I'm
do.
like, who?
The elf. Oh no.
I know his voice when I hear it.
His or like not Renee.
No.
He's a shape. Okay.
Just play the next videos.
Fuck off. Yeah, then go on. But there's lots of characters that get around. But somehow Denise Crosby didn't.
Yeah.
I never heard of her turning up anyway. But everyone had fun.
Yeah.
All right. Jeffrey Combs.
If he's you and you're him and he's him, am I still me? Who's eating this chicken?
Was in the Texas Book Depository.
Look, I'll tell you what we'll do. Sorry, old chum, no option.
Checkmate.
That's an illegal move.
Oh, sorry, queens don't move like that. I was thinking of poker.
Now, just relax.
Wait, is Holly inventing Queeg blackface?
Yes. Anyway, moving on.
What the hell? They're dead. Who's dead? They are dead. They're all dead. My God. I was only away 2 minutes.
All the canaries will be dead within 1 hour, except for Rimmer,
Yes!
who will be dead in 20 minutes.
I'll deal with you two later.
We see the final moments of Arnold J. Rimmer.
Yes. I'm alone in space with a man who'd lose a battle of wits with a stuffed iguana. Where's the bright side?
What's an iguana?
Oh, God.
You're in trouble, he will save the day. He's brave and he's fearless, come what may.
Oh, groovy, funky Channel 27. Keep on going, through the pain barrier. Jump, jump, jump. And rest. What are you doing, man? I'm resting, it's going all grey. That's the pain barrier, beat it. You're right, you're absolutely right. Keep it going. And rest.
I want his babies. I've seen it.
That's as well as maybe. But have you seen this?
Yes, I'm afraid I have.
Aye, busy swanking round with his new central nervous system. His punchy new 8-valve heart laddie down it with all his fancy new human friends.
Particular thing, I'll render you unconscious using the Ionian nerve grip.
Ionian nerve grip, that's smashing me over the head with a vase.
And 10 times stronger.
Oh my God.
Fantastic swimmer, and if you play your cards right, then he just might come around.
Doctor Who is looking wild.
just seen you walk out of that door. Has to be cruel, unkind, and unfair. Thank God for that.
So where's the bomb?
We haven't got a bomb. I got rid of it ages ago.
Why didn't you say?
You never asked.
It's Miranda, my girlfriend. Woo!
April Fool.
But it's not April.
Yeah, I know, but I could hardly wait 6 months with a red-hot jape like that under me belt. He's back. Kicking bottom or what?
Long-running virus epidemic has been renewed for another season!
Wrong, Bughead. You're axed.
No.
Hand, pick up the
It
ball.
was actually badass, that episode.
Hand, pick up the ball.
You heard. Just get on with it. Very short.
Okay, Arnold.
Have you done it, Hole?
Yes.
A crew cut, and it's very short?
Yes, Arnold.
As my father always said, shiny, clean boots and a spanking short haircut, and you can cope with anything. He said that just before that rather unfortunate suicide business.
Up my 18 grand. Come on, it's bone crunching time, me old shiner. Now where's those little thummies?
Something's different. Wait a minute, I never used to be a man.
Here we go.
Don't you want to win this war? Don't eyeball me, Gandhi.
Okay, Holly, swap discs.
Holly, this is not my breast. I want my own nipple back, Holly.
Leave, Rimmer.
There's no rush, Holly.
Now it's regressed your outfits to a previous time in your lives.
And you still look like the Turkish entry in the Eurovision Song Contest.
You never learn, do you?
I have a medium-sized fire axe buried in my spine. That sort of thing can really put a crimp on your day.
I'm almost annoyed.
Bullet cybernautics. It's traffic control.
You'll be doing last-second revision.
I am revising buns.
Is this the British Embassy? Does it even look the remotest bit like the British Embassy?
And I believe this is an appropriate juncture for you to give me 5, sir.
Give you 5. I can do better than that. I can give you 15.
No silicon heaven? Preposterous! Oh, where would all the calculators go?
Snake!
Snake!
What the smack is going on?
Good naughty boys, haven't they, Mr. Flibble?
Yes.
So I'm just going to pause because a lot of the jokes work because of like Craig Charles's like responses to stuff, which is like, oh, for God's sake. Like, especially in this one with obviously Rimmer going mad, he's just like, oh my God, you know.
Yeah, but like, is Rimmer's actor like the one who really writes the jokes, or do they have like a script that they follow?
It's a script. It's just a script that they follow. Yeah.
Okay. Because I kind of get the idea that like the actor is like teaching the others like how to actually have like the comedic timing and all that. Or did they just like get it on the go?
Yeah, they got it really quickly. With Russ Cheese Knife in the comments, what's your guys' general opinions about laugh tracks? When it's an actual studio audience, it's good. The problem is when it becomes anything that's canned or if it's recorded. Because sometimes the laugh track will go over a joke and you'll notice it if you're watching something that's got a recorded laugh track. Whereas, like with Red Dwarf, you'll notice there's like pauses in certain jokes, which make them funnier because you're giving the audience a chance to laugh at the joke before you're moving on to the next one. So
yeah, and they stand around like idiots, like what? What does this go? What does this mean? What's going on? Yeah, so it plays with the character of being dumb or ignorant.
like it's like that one to see if you've gone mad, and he goes and makes that scream. The ability to let the audience laugh, and they can just do like a reaction to the joke. You know what I mean? So it makes the humour funnier than if it were just recorded and they quickly went on to the next line of dialogue.
Yeah.
So
you need to differentiate between the real audience laughter and the canned laughter. And there are shows that, like many American sitcoms, they start out with a real audience. I think The Big Bang Theory is that, and later on it changes to just canned laughter, and you notice the difference.
Mm-hmm.
And if you take away the canned laughter from the episodes, you notice that the jokes aren't good.
Oh yeah, it's even with like female, well not all female, but some female comedians, you could tell like this isn't funny, and they're obviously in a club or they're in a set that there's people around them, but it sounds too fabricated to be like natural. And even if the jokes aren't like for me, I'm like, okay, at least someone can enjoy the humor. But it's like this is a story that's not even funny. It's just like this is something her being aware of something she was unaware of before. That's not really funny. That just means you're a moron, and you've never like it was about dating, and it's like, oh yeah, that's how men behave because they're dealing with you.
So comedians don't date; they're all lonely.
Well, that's the thing. If it's like you're listening to a woman like realize how dating works, you're just like, wow, you're
problem
dumb.
is in the mirror.
Yeah, the comedy is like I'm laughing at you, but you're not funny, so I just don't care.
The thing as well about the Red Dwarf audience, when it first started, with the first episode, the entirety of the audience came from the pub next door to the studio. Like they were just random people off the streets.
Oh, so they were drunk?
Well, not just that. No, but it was the fact that they couldn't afford to hire a studio audience, so they went next door to the pub and said, "Does anyone want to be part of this, audience to watch this new show?" And they started just grabbing people off the streets to watch the show. So it is, it really was just the
way you get an actual real everyday man audience that doesn't know what they expect.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not like, I mean, the newer series has gone the way that obviously people don't like it to go. But the first 6 series it's you can tell they're just average normal people watching this show. I mean, there's certain episodes where you'll hear a laugh, and it's such a unique laugh that it makes you laugh hearing someone laugh.
Yeah, you can hear individual people.
Yeah, there's one laugh in an episode where Crichton turns human and he's trying to figure out what a penis is because obviously he's never had one, and this woman's laughing, and it's such an awkward laugh. It makes the audience laugh even more when she laughs. So it's a bit like with Red Dwarf, it's definitely one of those things where it's a bit like the jokes are funny. You don't need to be told by the laugh track, because there's certain jokes the audience miss, which are really funny, and they don't catch it, but you'll end up laughing at them.
Yeah, you don't have this flashing light at the top that tells you applause now, laughter now, silence now.
There's one really good joke which I'm always surprised. Crichton accidentally calls Rimmer's mum a silly old trout, which is obviously a fish. And when he's leaving, I've got no more fish to in this thing, and he goes, I'll let myself trout. It says, I let myself out. But no one catches the joke. And it's really funny, but no, the audience don't catch it. So, anyway.
Say Nurik.
Nurik.
Say Ratut.
Ratut.
Say Hanunga.
Hanunga.
Here it comes!
Change your plan! Like it!
This is not a drill. This is a drill. Shit. Oh god, now the sirens bust.
Ignore it! He's a complete and total nutter! Angela's only got one testicle!
Damn my vanity. Well, I want to talk to you about my penis. I knew it, you've gone straight into smirk mode.
The actual chances of it blowing are about 1 in... One.
Sir,
What do you think of the picket fence?
This is where you must be to become Ace Rimmer.
No, this is where you must be to become Maria von Trapp.
Load arrogance. Load charisma. Load neuroses. Perhaps I didn't make myself clear. I said supper is ready.
That was Pride and Prejudice people, right?
It was a hot one. Tell those mice to do something, they've got to jump to it. Yes, Mr. Lister, sir! I can feel, I can fondle, I'm alive! Don't you think it's incredible? I am alive! I can't! Concentrate, man! I can't!
Oh, what's he done there? I'm sorry, I'm really sorry. What's going on? Our faces have been smeared with jam. We're about to be eaten alive by killer ants. Why? Why not?
Oh dear. You can't take him anywhere, can you?
See the Cougarani? It's you. Can you see it?
Sort of. Ketchup with lobster, you want?
Whoa.
What have I done, man? Oh, you've brought the 20th century to the very brink of extinction, sir. Gum?
Oh, brilliant. What have I got to do?
Become a dog.
This is a piece of music he specially requested. Start the tape, please, Holly.
I'll see you later around again.
That's at a funeral as well.
Silence, scum! Shut up!
It's the voice distortion thing for the Daleks, just a little bit weaker in the intensity.
Yeah. They nicked it, yeah.
If you want to build that modulator yourself, the schematics are online.
That's a bucket. There's only 3 alternatives. He thinks we're either a threat, fool, or a mate. He's gonna either kill us, eat us, or hump us. Hollow whip.
I'm going to lash you to within an inch of your life. And then I'm going to have you.
Cops. They don't like it when you're rat-arsed.
To tie him to a stake?
Oh.
It's Winnie the Pooh?
Morning, farmer listener. I'm just popping down to the shop to see my submarine.
Timing is amazing. I love it.
What the hell is going on?
It's an alkaline.
That's Ace Rimmer.
What's it called? Cesium, francalithic, mixy-albidium, rixy-dixy-doxy-dexy-draxa.
Smack. I forgot to ask if there are any curry houses in Dallas. Ah!
It's my duty. My duty as a complete and utter bastard.
Das war Ace Rimmer. Ha, wir haben Glück gehabt, dass wir noch am Leben sind. A miracle. This is the happiest day of my life.
Ah, the cat sage.
They've taken Mr. Rimmer. Sir, they've taken Mr. Rimmer.
Quick, let's get out of here before they bring him back.
So that's the level of humour in this. But
And there's
I could
more
probably-
stuff that is some better than what's in this.
yeah,
So
I
it's
mean-
not you've not been spoiled to super best stuff.
yeah.
And it also depends on your taste because the humor goes all around.
Yeah.
There's highbrow, there's
Oh.
lowbrow, there's puns. As Hawke said, some that even the audience missed.
There's so much. I mean, that the Winnie the Pooh scene is like pure comedy, like gold, and all it is Lister just explaining what's happening.
Yeah.
You don't see anything. You just
All in your mind.
Okay.
Rusty
Yeah,
Cheese
it-
Knife had another question for you, Hawke.
what's that?
How much of the show was ad-libbed and kept in because it was funnier than the script?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. It's just that Rob Grant and Doug Naylor together were really good at comedy. They really had it, and once that partnership broke up, you could tell that it was a group effort to make it that funny. So I can't tell you how much was it, because it was funnier than the script. But there's very few deleted scenes. Oh, that's all I can tell you. Like, there's very few like things that were left on the chopping board. So they really did strike gold with the first 6 seasons of Red Dwarf, with everything. So there's not really much more to really talk about.
Yeah,
It's just
is it episodic in nature? Like, it seems to be like just random
It
stuff
is, yes.
happens.
yeah, it's very episodic. The only time there's ever any sort of development. The thing is, each season is a year. They always say, they remember how many years they've been going on, and they sometimes reference old episodes. It's like in one episode, DNA, they're being chased by a curry man who's half mutton vindaloo, half man. And he's like, oh my god, how can the same snake happen to the same guy twice? And it's like, yeah, don't you remember last year? You got attacked by a giant shami kebab, which is the polymorph, which like sucks out all their emotions.
Mm-hmm.
And like they remember certain episodes, but it is all episodic. It's like it's canon.
The
when it
Vindaloo
needs to
Monster
be.
episode that was very close to the thing.
I
What's that
thought
one?
it was an alien parody.
Well, there's no aliens in Red Dwarf. There's no aliens. Everything's
I know, but like the monster, like tried to kill the crew.
which one?
The Vindaloo Monster.
No, whatever.
Oh, the
That was
Vindaloo
a-
monster.
Yeah.
The one that they kill with beer.
Yeah, they kill it with beer. Lager, the only thing that can kill a Vindaloo.
Yeah, but that was one of these episodes that reminded me a lot of a John Carpenter movie.
Oh, the monster designs in this are really good for the budget as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you've got the Vindaloo Man, the polymorph. You had the sirens, which are the giant insects that were kissing Lister. And what they do is they pretend to, well, the sirens pretend to be beautiful women and then suck out your brains. So it's
Like real
yeah.
women.
It's the first 6 seasons is very clever with stuff,
Oh yeah.
especially with the budget.
Yes,
It's
if you
just a
don't want to
shame
watch
that-
everything, at least watch the first 6 seasons. You'll enjoy it.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend it. But yeah. Oh, I don't know if we've got anything else to cover with it, because I really covered everything.
Nah, I think everything was covered.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that was well,
interesting.
Yeah, it's weird slapstick, weird explosions happening. I don't know if you guys actually, well, people watching enjoy comedy shows that involve sci-fi. It's not for everyone. It definitely is not. Like, you have to be comfortable with the setting to appreciate. You have to like. like it's like watching Spaceballs. Like, yeah, you have to be in the mood to watch Spaceballs. You can't just I feel like watching Spaceballs. Like, not really. You have to want to laugh and see goofy stuff and alien stuff. So, as a series, I'm glad it's there, though. I'm glad we have it.
Oh yeah, I mean,
this is a treasure of humanity.
Yeah, it's like watching Lex. Like Lex is not same with Farscape. Like it's not for everyone. It's too weird, too much.
Lex especially. I think Lex is, and when you have so all these science fiction shows, Lex is the one that's on the side of the field where we play the game, and it's standing there and then watching, and nobody wants to really play with Lex and have Lex on the team, but it's there and it's special and yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there's something for everyone in sci-fi. We just have to find it. As I said, there's dozens of movies that do the sci-fi comedy, and it's hard to find. Like I don't know how the Orville is doing. You said it's not as funny. It's more dramatic as it's changing its tune. So I wish we had more. It's kind of like missing The Outer Limits. Like I really do miss that show. I didn't watch all of it, but anytime you turn it on, you're going to get something different. It's going to be in the horror or creepy, sometimes the comical vibe. There's a little joke at the end or a little sort of moral.
It did play around with sci-fi as well sometimes, like because that has its overlap with these other genres.
Yeah, and because of its
sorry, carry on.
Because of its random nature, it's like finding a sci-fi horror short story novella or a anthology, and you're just going, oh, this is going to be different, and it's always surprising. Sometimes it's too creepy for me. It's like, this is kind of I don't know about that, but it allows all these different genres and all these different artists to come together to do weird cosmetics and weird. I think at the time they were just experimenting with 2D and 3D art or animation, and obviously not the original Outer Limits, but the 90s one. It was really different, and that's what a show like this feels like. The same way Lex was weird, Farscape was weird. I guess you could say Star Trek was weird for its time as well, because it was almost experimental the first 2 seasons.
The first season, definitely.
Yeah, the second season was great, and then horrible and boring, and then great and horrible. It's just like, what am I watching?
Farscape and Lex in their own ways. Like Farscape on a lower volume, stayed weird.
Yeah,
and embraced weird.
With Lex, it was a combination of adult themes that, body horror, sex, blowing up planets, like all these weird, crazy ideas.
Dystopian nonsense.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff in there, and it's so low budget, but they do very well with trying to deliver on what this serious narrative is, even though it has elements of comedy, because the guy in control of the Lex is like a janitor or whatever. He's just some guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stanley, isn't
it?
it?
A low budget co-production of Canada, Britain, and Germany, and it's still a low budget. What the fuck? Three countries band together, and they still can't find any money.
Yeah, you're gonna get a lot of weird flicks from Canada that don't quite sell or make it onto primetime. But there's a cult following. They made a video or a movie after it eventually. So there's stuff for everyone out there, and you just got to support it, whether it's on Kickstarter or whether it's like your local cable company, if those even exist anymore, producing content. I see most of the new stuff on streaming anyway, and not Netflix, like local streaming services. So, but hey, you know what? I'm glad we got it. I'll probably give it a watch now and again. Now that it's on YouTube, I think most of it's on YouTube, all the episodes, unless I'm mistaken.
Mm-hmm. No, I've just been looking up. Obviously, we were talking about earlier on about things referencing Red Dwarf, and there's loads of stuff that I've just realised. Like Doctor Who in the later episodes, with David Tennant references Red Dwarf quite a bit.
Yeah. Okay.
In a what I think. A novel, Star Trek: New Frontier. They make someone gets made into a hologram, and they offer to put a H on their forehead in reference to Red Dwarf. But one of the ones that really surprised me was in The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, one of the DLCs. There's 2 characters based on Rimmer and Lister.
Oh no.
And I'm like, okay, that's weird. Then Far Cry 3 has a reference to it. Spider-Man PS4 has a reference to Red Dwarf. And I'm like, okay, these are really weird. SimCity 2000, names of neighboring cities can include Lister, Rimmer, Cat, Crichton, and the Little Rogue, which is obviously another word for Red Dwarf. And there's even Pokemon games that have references.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is that in the translation or in the Japanese?
In the second generation Pokemon games and their remakes, there are 3 bug catchers on Route 2. The ones who are close together are named Rob and Doug, after Rob Grant and Doug Naylor, and the other one is named Ed, after Ed Bye, the director and producer of the series.
Okay. Interesting.
Really. So, yeah, so loads of people know about it. So
it still had like the lowest budget in existence.
And still did really good with the set design, and I'd say the makeup is pretty decent. You don't have to be amazing in sci-fi, especially since everything's pretty basic. Like, you don't need crazy aliens, although they do have those at times, and I guess the later seasons when they have more of a budget.
There's a reference to it in one of the Incredible Hulk annuals. Incredible Hulk Annual 19. There's a reference to Red Dwarf. That's really weird.
I think the main point to take away from all this, especially after you've watched it and made up your own opinion, not just from the sketch compilations here, is that, especially since you mentioned the low budget, you do not need $10 million per episode to make a good science fiction show. In fact, all you need is good writing.
It's kind of
weird.
weird.
Red is good writing, and that's it.
We have
and the props. That's just stuff you have lying around.
Yeah, we have Star Trek Discovery filmed in Toronto, and one of my favorite.
I'm so sorry, Smud.
I know.
Yeah,
I gotta
My
apologize.
My condolences to you and your family.
Every time people bring it up, it's like, oh yeah, I know. But we have Elias Defex is one of my favorite voice actors in gaming and what have you. He played some alien on one episode or whatever for season 5. He says, this is the best, crew, the best sets. This is the best money. It's like, dude, they're paying you a lot of money. Just say that, okay? It doesn't matter what you're doing. Of course you enjoy it. You're getting work, and it's a good experience on the resume because actors are constantly working. They're not just fishing for work. They're trying to get whatever they can, and they're so excited. And he's trying to get off Twitter, and I'm like, dude, this is becoming hilarious for what's happening in the industry. All the people I like are all left-leaning because they're actors, and that's all they do is they suck up and be the whatever the heck the studios want them to be, and the studios happen. Even in Hollywood North, it's very liberal-minded. So it's this constant, can I get this gig?
The mostest politically correct guy.
Yeah, and I'm sure Elias is very Quebecois. He believes, like, he grew up around there. He's a Montreal Canadian fan, and
so he's French then.
He's part French. Yeah, so it's always the Habs versus the whatever. And not saying he doesn't have a bad team to root for, but you could tell that these people just want to get by, and they'll say whatever they need to say to make something happen. If they're part of a franchise, it's 5 years now. I can't believe it's been that long. Discovery's been on the air. And we don't know the numbers for it. They say it's the most watched show on the Paramount streaming service.
Not a lot of people are watching the Paramount streaming service.
But they're not telling us the numbers, so we don't know how popular it is. We don't know who enjoys it. Even my dad's like, this is like, he checked out, I think, the second, third season. He's like, this is getting too hokey. There's all these gay people running around. There's like, what has happened to the future? Like, what is going on? So it's too much at times. So if you find a good sci-fi show that isn't influenced by the times, just tell us, please. Just tell us. There's so many out there, and they only last for like a season or two, and they're great. They are out there. They're low budget. I've seen a few from Vancouver, from Toronto, They last a year or two, and it's like, wow, that was really wild. And they're gone. So, sadly. But Red Dwarf, I'm sure, is still going to live long. And we're going to hopefully be inspired by it to make more. I don't know who's going to be the courageous person to do that.
Well, it's like other people. I mean, I know we always make jokes about them and everything like that, but Doug Naylor and Yahtzee both cite Red Dwarf as what got them into trying to do comedy.
Wow.
As in, yeah, they claim that it's like Doug Naylor has always said he's wanted to make Doug Naylor, no, Doug. What's his name? Doug Walker. Sorry, has said that Red Dwarfs is one of his favourite comedy shows, and it's how he wants to do his comedy, which is why I'm like, mate, you've gone so far away from it.
That is
obviously
fascinating.
No way.
Yeah. Doug Walker.
Then like yeah, and he actually is like, oh yeah, it's what I think of, with comedy, and that's what he wants to do, and it's like, that's great, but guys, you're moving far away from it.
Yeah, you can't emulate British or Australian humor by, well, first live in those places, talk to the people there, get their language down, their mannerisms, all the little idioms, get that figured out, then go to a comedy club, do whatever, live music, whatever. Get a vibe, get a real good vibe of those peoples, the countries, not just the country, but I think, locals, certain parts of London, wherever you live. And then you could say, okay, now I think I can get a joke going, because to have an American, I think he's American, trying to emulate anything outside of your wheelhouse is super hard without living there.
Yeah. Yeah, you need to know how the people talk with each other, because that's what the humor is based on. How they make pauses, how they talk between the lines, how they say something by saying nothing, what they say by saying nothing.
Oh yeah,
you would have to do it completely different for Germans, because that humor is a completely different dry than the British dry.
I was about to say, we know nothing of German. Like I could not even start to begin to understand German comedy, and I've never seen any German comedian. I'm sure they're out there. I'm sure they're great, but I just don't know any. So
there are those that there are fewer and fewer that do actual German comedy, because all the new stand-up comedians just try to imitate the Americans.
Yeah.
It's a bit insufferable.
Yeah, I know, and we're stuck watching. Well, at least I'm stuck watching a Japanese anime in the fall season, and it's mostly isekai drivel, but it's all we get. So, sadly. Unless you guys, again, if you guys make recommendations, I'll be happy to check them out. I'm up to reading and watching and playing just about anything. I'm currently playing. This has been a renaissance of tactical strategy games this year from Square Enix. I've been playing the Tactics Ogre Reborn, which is a remake of a remake, and it's a brand new game. I guess it's worth the price of admission if you guys don't like tactical games. So that's where my brain is at. But other than that, I don't want to talk about gaming right now. We're done with our stream. Thanks, guys. That was neat. Weird, goofy stuff, but glad that I know about it. I'm glad I have Hawke to teach me a little bit about, because when I was growing up, I was like, what the hell is this? I can't watch this. It's too weird. So hopefully
The thing is, once if you sit down and watch it, you'll slowly find yourself really enjoying it, and you'll notice it gets better and better. And it's one of those few things that it starts off good and then gets a lot better, and you're like, wow. It's like when we all watched it, obviously, me, Mark, Bears watched it together, and then obviously Whisp came along and watched it and stuff. And like I said, it's
mind-blowing.
Yeah.
And it completely defeats this bullshit argument that they now bring up for Rings of Power, that most shows start shit and then they get good by the third season. No, you can actually start your show good.
Yeah.
Can be done, but you need good writers.
Yeah, sadly.
You need to care about the writing. And your 10 million for special effects and money laundering are not going to get you good writing. Good writing doesn't cost that much.
Yeah. Well, anyway,
you just need to care.
Let's call it a night. Thanks, guys, for your time.
All right.
Thanks for the Smudtalk, and we'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow is Anime Day, so we have any anime on the docket, please If not, just keep suggestions going. I don't know who can make it tomorrow, but I've been watching. I'm up to date. I know some stuff, so make it current, make it old. I don't care. Let's get it going. All right. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
Bye.